Good morning. Is this thing even working? Is this thing even actually working? Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone has such a Merry Christmas and a wonderful holiday. We're going to do a little mornings with Miss Pa. Uh, you know, really hoping we're going to get some documents soon. I patiently waited last week thinking, okay, maybe we'll get them for Christmas. By the way, my chat is not working. If you pop in and say hello, the only way I'm going to see it is probably on the screen, but I can't see my chat. So if you're here, try to say hello and hopefully it'll pop up on the screen. But good morning, everyone. Good morning. Miss Potts is motherfucking back in the building. We motherfucking back in the building. And, we're here to talk some shit. We're here to talk some shit on a Monday morning. Hopefully everybody had a wonderful holiday. Welcome in, welcome in. Wanted to talk about what in the actual fuck Hippler's doing. Trying to see my screen because I can't see my chat. So if you're here, welcome. I can't even see who that is. Holy shit, too fast for fleas. You're so pretty. I think I see Carrie, right? Good morning to you. I'm trying to see my screen. Oh, dear God. So on my end, I can't see my chat, friends, and I don't know why it's not showing it to me. I figured if I popped it up on the screen, I'd be able to read it, but no. Actually, maybe I will be able to do it if I do this. Let's see. Well, damn, I can't see who's here, but you all look blue. So welcome in, motherfuckers. Welcome in, all of you blues. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. We're going to get brainworms. Today's brainworms. It's brainworms. I patiently waited. I patiently waited for these documents, thinking we'd get them for Christmas. This great unsealing that's supposed to be happening. And what's crazy is Hippler is a fucking idiot. He's an absolute idiot because some of this shit that this man is claiming is on this list to be unsealed and blah, blah, blah. There's already orders for the things to be sealed, and you can read the order for the item to be sealed, and the item is not sealed. It's there. So I was doing, this is what I was doing, putting around last week, reading, looking at things, waiting to see, is there anything yet that, became unsealed? Nope. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. Let me go look at the dates. Let's go check the dates. Let's go check the state's response to the court. Let's go check dates. Let's see what they're talking about here. And some of these things, they're already unsealed, even though there's an order for them to be sealed. Example, defense's lay witness list. There is an order from Judge Hippler, along with a stipulated motion that the defense's lay witness list is going to be sealed, and it's not. It's there. So I'm not exactly sure. Okay, I'm not exactly sure what's happening, to be honest with you. Not 100%. There are items that are there that are supposed to be under seal. They have an order to be sealed. They're not sealed. You can read them. Obviously, I'm, where I am right now, I'm on my phone, not bringing anything up. Today, you're just getting brainworms. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in if you're here. I wish I could see your name, but I literally can't. Hopefully, my mods who are here will welcome you in. I appreciate everybody being here. There's a couple of them that I can read, right? That I can make out with my old tired eyes here. I thought I saw Carrie. Thought I saw Too Fast for Fleas. I'm hoping like beautiful Meg P and Lucy are here. Good morning, Kane B, Twiz. Any of you, if you're here, hello. If I miss you, I'm sorry. It's just because everything on my screen is super small. And I can't really make out names. I think I see Angel D. Is that Angel D? Good morning, if that's you. What's this other one here? Yeah, I can't read it. Is Outcast here? I don't know. Holy shit, I can't read names. I literally can't read the names. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So yeah, chat is not moderated. There's probably going to be some wild motherfuckers that pop up in here. Just ignore them if they do. I can't see them anyway, so they're irrelevant. I can't see them. So yeah, I hope everybody had a great holiday. I didn't, but that's neither here nor there. I'm very bah humbug this year. It has been an awful, whatever you want to call this holiday season. I hate it. I'm glad it's over. The holidays can fuck off into the sun. It's how I feel about that, at least for this year. I'm usually very, very pro being jolly, right? My Christmas starts usually November 1st is when I start Christmas. Not this year. Not this year. I can't read names. I can read it, make out too fast for please. And I see someone's comment, Christy's Chaos something. I can't see my chat friends, so it won't even let me like click on your comments. I can only kind of see them on my screen. So sorry. I was really, I'm not sure exactly why Restream isn't bringing up my chat. Hang on, maybe it's a me issue and I can try to fix it. I don't know. We'll see. It might be a me issue. Maybe if I do that for a second. Let's do this for a second. What's that? Okay, no, we don't want that. Come back over here. Put that back on screen. Yeah, I don't know. It's not letting me see my chat. What a bummer. What a bummer. So either way, you guys get to just listen to me ramble for a few. Probably won't be here long. I literally can't even drop the link, actually, now that I think of that, because I can't see my chat. What in the actual F? Well, either way. So the reason that I posted the title of the live being like, what the fuck is Hippler doing? Oh, yes. Also, by the way, if you're new here, welcome on in. There are no facts here. I don't know shit. I'm just some witch cackling bitch on the internet who likes to read court docs sometimes, and I nerd out on crime scene stuff and blood, and I'm a fucking weirdo. Okay, so if you're new here, welcome, welcome. If you are also a fucking weirdo, feel free to hit the like, feel free to subscribe, or don't. Or don't. It really doesn't fucking matter, to be honest. It actually is irrelevant. But welcome nonetheless. The reason I titled the live here, what the fuck is Hippler doing, is because we're going on like 90 days of things that are... Oh, well, we're going to go through each batch. Okay, well, they responded to you months ago. They responded to you well over 30 days ago. Court, Hippler. You got your responses from state and defense, okay, months ago on sealing, unsealing, what needs to stay redacted. We finally get your order. Oh, great. Okay, great. You're unsealing things that we've been waiting for a long fucking time, sir. Finally. However, what the fuck are you doing, and why is it taking so long when some of this stuff that is under order to be sealed isn't? It's there. We can read it. Case in point, defense's lay witness list. It's there. There's an order for it to be a stipulated motion and order for it to be under seal. And it's not. It's there. And I don't see the order unsealing it, I guess is kind of what I'm getting at. And there's a couple instances of this happening. If you're just popping in, welcome in, welcome in. I can't see you. I literally can't see you, but I hope you're having a wonderful day. On my end, it just looks like all the comments on the screen here are blue, and I know not all you motherfuckers are my mods, so that can't be what it is. It can't be that every single person commenting is a mod. But either way, love you mods. Thanks for being here. If it's all mods, I don't think it is though. So yeah, you know, what the fuck is Hippler doing? Like, I'm of the opinion, okay, we're at the point now where I don't care who's complaining, be it the state or the defense. I don't care what they're complaining about. I don't care what they're complaining about. Well, it needs to stay sealed because of this, or it needs to stay sealed because, like, privacy. Fuck all the way off. Fuck all the way off. I'm done with the we need to seal everything in perpetuity because, oh my God, it might offend someone or someone's reputation might be harmed if the public were to find out they were a suspect in a quadruple homicide. Well, hey, maybe don't put yourself in a position. Don't put yourself in a position to where you're going to be a suspect in a quadruple homicide, right? Right, Hippler. Let's use Hippler's logic against him. Like he said, well, I mean, hey, maybe don't let your DNA end up at a crime scene. Well, hey, maybe don't let yourself become the subject of a fucking quadruple homicide. How about that? How about that? How about we just stop with all of this? We have to seal everything in perpetuity and let both sides complain about why they need it sealed. No, these are all adults. The person convicted is an adult. Everyone suspected of the crime by law enforcement were adults. Unseal it all. Unseal it all. There's no excuse for the sealing. None. Absolutely none. Oh, well, this adult over here who was the suspect, he was a suspect in a quadruple homicide. We can't harm that person's reputation. We can't let the public know they were a suspect, that they gave their DNA, that we then compared their DNA to all the other suspect fucking samples, to all these other crime scene samples. We can't have it getting out that we had our DNA lab analysts comparing these people's DNA to samples at the crime scene. That might harm their reputation. I don't give a fuck. If you went to the lengths to name them as a suspect in your case, follow them around, surreptitiously obtain their DNA or voluntarily get their DNA, and then proceed to use their DNA to fucking clear in an attempt to eliminate them from sample A, sample B, sample C, sample D. Clearly, maybe they did something that put them under the spotlight to be a suspect in a quadruple homicide. Never mind the state's own witnesses. The state's own witnesses in their case in chief were 4 alternate perpetrators. Hippler, sir, the state's witness list is entirely unredacted and unsealed. So maybe he doesn't understand the actual irony, the actual hypocrisy that he espouses. Maybe he just doesn't give a shit. You cannot on one hand claim we need to keep this certain information sealed because it may cause reputational harm to the person who was a suspect. Sir, their names are on the state's witness list, which you allowed to be entirely unsealed and unredacted. We have the fucking 4 alternate perpetrator names because the court gave them to us. Right? So for anyone who's confused, it's super easy to figure out who the 4 alternate perpetrators are. Right? If you've done your homework, if you know what I'm getting at here, you'll understand precisely what I'm getting at. I can't see your comments, and I am so very sorry. Some of you maybe already know. I know my right brain knows. My fucking right brain knows wherever she may be, because she gets my fucking brain worms. And even when she doesn't get my brain worm, she has the same brain worm, right? So, yeah, it's super easy to figure out, friends, who the 4 alternate perpetrators are. You take the state's witness list, which is fully unsealed and unredacted by the court. You go ahead and you mark off who's law enforcement, who's an investigator, who might be with the FBI, who might be with the ISP, who might be with Pullman, who might be lab workers. You just go ahead and it's process of elimination, friends. Process of elimination is going to get you to your 4 alternate suspects who are on the state's witness list, right? So, super easy to figure out. Hippler here wants to claim, and so does the state. Well, the reason that we can't give the names of the 4 alternate perpetrators is, well, because they were essentially eliminated, and we can't cause reputational harm to these 4 alternates. Even though we took their blood and their DNA and we compared it to all these other samples and we did yada, 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 and we were going to use them as witnesses in our fucking case in chief, we still need to protect their name, even though we unsealed the witness list that has their names on it. Oh my God, the stupidity, it fucking burns like flames from the sun. That's the level of stupidity we're dealing with. That is the level of stupidity we're dealing with. And I'm not trying to besmirch the good name of Judge Stephen Hippler, okay? I'm not trying to catch a fucking defamation lawsuit here. Everything I say is just my opinion. There are no facts here, and I don't know shit. But I'm sure somewhere in the conundrum here that is Judge Stephen Hippler's logic, right? Because we have to follow Hippler's logic here. By his logic, we got to protect these names because, you know, essentially they were eliminated, right? We have to protect their names. Also, we're going to unseal the fucking witness list that these names are on. Oh my God. Right, guys? So hopefully you understand what I'm getting at. I'm probably rambling a bit. These are just my brain worms. I was really hoping we were going to get some of the things that I'm waiting on are those unredacted filings from the defense for motion in limine number 5, motion in limine number 14 or 15, I think it was. Statistical analysis, inconclusive data. Those are names redacted. Alt perp docs where names are redacted. I'm waiting for those. Those names are supposed to be unredacted. Now he has to unredact them because they're on the state's witness list, which is unredacted. Now you have to unredact everything. If you don't, you've now opened the door for civil suit because you're going against your own order. You're contradicting yourself via your own order. It's wild. I've actually seen anything like it. It's not often you have a judge openly defying their own orders in a case. It's kind of fucking wild. And I really wish I could see your comments. I wish I could see who's here. I can't. I hope you guys all had a great holiday. New Year's is coming. Where I am, everything was covered in like an inch of ice. So, you know, not going anywhere today. Going to be staying home, making soup, things like that. But I still came to get my coffee. I totally trekked it to Starbucks to come and get my quad blonde. I had to. Wait, that icon. I know the icon. Is that Christy's Chaos? Hi, honey. How are you? Welcome on in. I don't know who else is here. I'm trying to tell by like people's icons and stuff, but I can't. Sorry, guys. I can't even read my comments. What a fucking nightmare. What an absolute nightmare. If Meg is here, hello, beautiful Meg P. Any of my mods, hello, welcome. Glitch DNA, if you're here. I don't know. I'm trying to see like just the icons on the screen. I know Christy's icon. It won't let me open my chat, friend. Sorry. I don't know what it's doing. So yeah, this is why like I feel like he's kind of opened the door here where technically the public, should they choose to, could argue, well, okay, on one hand, you have this judge claiming that certain information needs to stay sealed because X, Y, and Z, right? Mainly the state and the judge seem to be in agreement that, well, these specific alternate suspects and alternate perpetrators, we have to protect their names because releasing that would cause this like undue, reputational harm, right? Undue reputational harm if the public and people were to become aware that these alts were suspects in a quadruple homicide, to where I would argue, okay, fair, sure, okay, fair, until you unseal the state's witness list that has the 4 alternate suspect names on it, and it's entirely unredacted. The four alternate suspect names are not redacted off of that witness list. And we know that the 4 alternate suspects were witnesses in the state's case in chief. So if it's okay for the court to not redact the 4 alternate suspect names from the state's witness list, it should not be necessary to redact their names from any other document where they are mentioned. Hippler opened the door to where now one could argue the names need to be fully redacted. You've already done it in one set of documents. Here, you might as well do it for the rest because we figured out the 4. It would have been obvious who the 4 were if they were redacted off the state's witness list, which is precisely, in my opinion, why they didn't redact the 4 names. It's a very long list. You have to go through, do your due diligence, and try to narrow down your 4. If they had redacted the 4, it would have made it a lot easier for the public to figure out who the 4 were. Yeah? Right? Brainworms. So they unredacted them on the state's witness list. They did not redact the 4 alternate suspects. They're claiming they need to redact the 4 alternate suspects in all of these other documents. Because if the public knew their names and knew who they were and knew they were suspected of a quadruple homicide, oh, well, it could cause reputational harm. Well, we already have their fucking names. I'm not going to give anyone the name. Okay? That's not my job. Not my job. Anybody else out there that wants to put in the work the way that I did, go for it. Go through the list, mark up everyone, who they are, what they do, where they came from. It's really easy to narrow down your 4. Just saying. Okay? I see there's other people hopping in. I appreciate you being here. I truly can't see my chat. I can see some icons. I can barely read the names. It looks like everyone's blue, and I know not all of you are mods. It's just the way it looks on my end for Restream. So welcome in, everybody. Appreciate you being here. So yeah, maybe like Kathy's Indie Zone out there, Custody Queens, couple of the lawyers out there. Go ahead and give your legal opinion on this. Even if you are a replay crew and you hear this at a later time, feel free, give me your legal opinion on this. I feel like Hippler's opened the door here to where people seeking public records requests and things like that for documents in this case, the door has been open to where we could argue you actually don't have a right now at any point to seal anything else. We already have the 4 alternate suspect names. They're completely unsealed on the state's witness list. They're not redacted. So we have their names. Super easy to figure it out. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who already have. I haven't seen anybody talking about it or reporting on like who they think they've narrowed the 4 down to. not my job to give the names to people. Um, I'm using it more as a legal argument. For me, it's a legal argumentative stepping stone in what may be civil action going forward for FOIAs. Is kind of what I plan to use it for. I don't plan to use it to start, yelling out people's names as the fucking four alternate suspects. That's not my job. And it's not what I'm here to do. I am going to use it, though, as a legal stepping stone if I can. So that's why I figured, it's one of the things I wanted to talk about today. It's super interesting to me that Hippler here is on one side of its face, has no problem with the state's witness list being fully unredacted and unsealed, even though he knows the four alternate suspect names are on it. But out of the other side of his face, wants to side with the state in their complaining about why they need the alt suspect name sealed, i.e., it would cause reputational harm, right? And I'm like, not of that mindset. You can't have it both ways, is kind of how I feel about that. It can't be both, right? It just can't be both. Hang on one second, friends. I got to mute for 1 minute. Hang on. Okay, so sorry, so sorry. Back. I thought I saw RJ Anderson, maybe. Trying to see other people's names here. Think I made out an RJ Anderson. Welcome on in. Sorry, friends. I really can't read my comments. I'm trying to see them on the screen, but I don't have my glasses. I should, and I don't. I was looking for them, but I don't have them. So, anyways, that was one of the brainworms that I wanted to talk about with Hippler here. I just find it super interesting. I feel like some legal doors have been opened, possibly, which I plan to do a little bit further research into. I'm also, just dying for these documents. I was really hoping that we were going to get them before Christmas, and we didn't. So that sucked. But yeah, anybody else want to know like what in the actual fuck Hippler's doing, right? Another thing that's super interesting to me about Hippler here is that now that we have some of the defense's exhibits, some of their actual exhibits that they plan to present, especially regarding like Nick Balance, right? When you start getting into the whole Nick Balance, Special Agent Kennedy, it looks like we were going to have Cy Ray and Tom Slavinsky going up against FBI agent, Special Agent Balance and Special Agent Kennedy. Looks like we were going to have fucking them going head to head at trial. And some of the stuff that the defense was presenting, I'm going, holy shit. So Hippler saw all this. Hippler knows all this. Hippler's very well aware that people like Nick Balance and Special Agent Kennedy have to get their fucking training and certifications from people like Cy Ray and Tom Slavinsky. And he had the absolute audacity to call Cy Ray a conspiracy theorist, knowing damn well that these FBI agents have to go through Cy Ray's training. It's wild. And who Slavinsky is. right? So when I look at Hippler and we start seeing some of the stuff that we're seeing, it just makes me know more and more that, like, when I say we have to hit these judges at every level, all of them, if they are sitting on the bench, especially overseeing criminal cases, right? Like, it's one thing with civil cases, but these judges that are overseeing these high-level criminal cases in courtrooms, who are openly defying their own orders, right? They're openly overlooking valid experts with valid credentials to favor the state before a trial's even happened. You have a judge openly favoring the state and the state's experts before a trial's even happened. He is the arbiter of declaring whether or not they're an actual expert, according to Hippler. According to Hippler, right? Absolutely wild. I feel like some doors have been opened here for some legal precedent to be set where these judges who are like Hippler, I'm sorry, we need Department of Justice, Internal Affairs, whatever needs to happen, whether the bar investigates them, the DOJ, both. I want to see like high-level investigations from the top down. From the top down. I'm sorry. It is what it is. I want to see people like Hurwitz who collaborated and colluded and conspired with people like Jeff Nye, Jennings, Bill Thompson, and the judge in this case, Hippler, because that's what they all did. They all colluded and conspired with each other in this case to not allow a proper and adequate defense to happen. In my opinion, that is what happened. You had the state of Idaho prosecutor's office, along with their prosecutors, in collusion with people from the attorney general's office and the state attorney, all of them colluding and conspiring with each other and getting the judge on board to do it with them, in my opinion. It's an actual conspiracy, not a conspiracy theory. In my opinion, it's an actual conspiracy that can be laid down with documented black and white facts, because the judge in this case is talking out both sides of his face and ignoring his own orders in some instances when it suits them. When it suits them, they ignore the order. So because it would have been too obvious to redact the 4 alternate suspects from the state's witness list, and that would have made it obvious who they are, that state's witness list gets unsealed by the court, not redacted. And the same judge unsealing that document, knowing those 4 alternate suspect names are on it, is also trying to claim we have to protect their names. Know what I mean? No, now we have to unseal them and all of the documents, because you've already unsealed them on the state's witness list. They were the state's witnesses in their case in chief. So, I mean, I don't know, I don't know shit. I'm not a lawyer. I'm nobody. I'm just asking questions, right? I'm just some crazy witch cackling bitch on the internet asking questions here about why a judge would ignore his own order, why he would go against it, like on one hand, try to uphold it in another instance, go against it in another instance. And it would appear also conspired and colluded with the state prosecutor and their team in this case to make it so that the defendant could not put on an adequate defense in any way, shape, or form, be it via introducing third-party culpability evidence, be it introducing proper experts regarding the timing advance reports, the cell phone data. It wasn't going to happen. He wasn't allowing it. No matter what they did, it wasn't being allowed in. Nothing was getting in. Hippler, even in the order for IgG, even in the order, Hippler concedes that the FBI are the ones who uploaded to the two databases that law enforcement is barred from. That's in Hippler's order. So Hippler is aware that the FBI uploaded to two databases they're not supposed to use. It wasn't Othram who did it at the behest of ISP and the state prosecutor. It was the FBI who did it, right? So the FBI is you can't hold that. That's Hippler's logic here. Well, you can't blame the state for something the FBI did that they weren't supposed to do. And the FBI turned that tip over to the state. And the state was told, oh, well, you can only use it as a tip, right? So this is how, like, the fuckery ensues. Because you've got a judge who, on his own order, agrees that, yep, even though the FBI was acting as an agent of the state, in this case, helping and assisting the state in investigating the case, and the FBI went and took a DNA profile and uploaded it to two databases they're barred from in order to give a tip to law enforcement to pursue, right, to give a tip to the state. Oh, well, he wasn't going to let that in. He wasn't going to allow the defense to be able to present an adequate defense on behalf of the defendant to the jury. He was not going to allow it, whether it had to do with the IgG, whether it had to do with the phones, whether it had to do with the no connection, whether it had to do with multiple weapons, evidence of multiple perpetrators, evidence of a fucking cleanup, evidence of post-mortem wounds, all of it. The motherfucker actually colluded and conspired with the state, the prosecutors, and their team to ensure that none of that got in. And if it did, it was only going to be brought in a fucking halfway, no, you can't mention specifics. You can only question law enforcement about the adequacy of their investigation. You can't, like, talk specifics, right? Absolute fuckery. Fuckery of epic proportions here, in my opinion, and it's fucking diabolical. It's diabolical because if you are a judge that's worth your fucking salt, right? As long as you did law school, as long as you clerked for someone, as long as you had to spend in a firm, etc., to get to the position of judge. And you're you have this case fall in your lap that normally would have never come to you. And it normally would have never come to you because you normally don't oversee death penalty, fucking quadruple homicide cases. You usually handle fucking drug court and mental health shit, right? Medical shit. That's what you're usually dealing with. And this case falls in your lap. And if you're worth your salt, the moment that the defendant and his defense team, who one of their attorneys happens to spend more than half her time in federal court, Miss Massive, she spends more than half of her time in federal court. When that woman, that attorney, and their team start presenting to you evidence, actual compelling forensic evidence via their fucking expert, whether it's reconstruction, etc., right? And your reaction to that is, actually, it's a conspiracy. What you're saying here is a conspiracy defense, and I'm going to label it as such. If that's the kind of judge you are, right, you are corrupt as shit. That is just, and it's not even, it's not defamation or slander. in my opinion. That's just a logical call. That's just a logical read, right? Any logical person could read that scenario and say, yeah, that motherfucker must be corrupt as shit. He must be corrupt, because what is the other logical reasoning for why this judge would be presented with that kind of evidence and say, actually, you know what? It's a fucking conspiracy. You have to be corrupt to just go along with the state at that point, right? Maybe in the beginning, you're just taking the state's word for it because, well, you know, you trust the state and law enforcement that they did their job correctly. But then as you go further into the case as this new judge and you start seeing this actual compelling forensic evidence, there's fucking DNA data of an alternate suspect in the lab analyst's own reports, right? You have the investigators going around surreptitiously collecting cigarette butts. They're getting fucking blood out of people's apartments. Your lead investigator is saying the blood in the crime scene looks like the blood droplets in this motherfucker's house right over here. Taking pictures of it, calling in teams to come and swab it, all that shit. All that shit. And then the defense experts doing crime scene reconstruction are telling you, they're putting in declarations saying, no. 2 weapons, minimum 4 perps. Minimum 4 perps, minimum 2 weapons. And we can prove that. We believe we can prove it. And here is our evidence of how. This is what's presented to this motherfucker in their declarations. He gets all of that. And he's still like, yeah, no, actually, I think it's just a conspiracy, what you're saying here. Not going to allow it. And if I do allow it, it's going to be limited. Which is just insanity to me. It's diabolical. To me, it just proves like you're not worth your salt as a judge, right? You're just not worth your salt as a judge, in my opinion. A real judge would have seen that and said, state, look, I know what y'all motherfuckers are trying to pull here. I don't care who's involved. I don't care what the feds told you. I don't care who did what, when, how, okay? If anywhere in this case, they can prove that you are violating the fucking constitutional rights of the defendant. Everything you obtained via the violation goes. I don't care. If the FBI is at your behest and they're out here backdooring DNA and databases they aren't supposed to be in, everything that you got from their tip is fruit of the poisonous tree, and I'm not letting it in. Everything that flowed from the tip that the FBI gave you isn't getting in. Because the only way it was obtained was they had to violate some fucking rights to get it. That's what Judge Hippler should have done. Should have done. A full frank should have been granted. And everything that came from fruit of the poisonous tree should have been taught. Right? If the way they got to Koberger is via this FBI tip, well, guess what? The FBI tip and everything that flowed from it should have been chucked, because Hippler even conceded that what the FBI did is they went into back databases law enforcement is barred from. And that's how they got their tip. Therefore, everything that flowed from it should have been considered fruit of the poisonous tree and chucked in the bucket. Know what I mean? Sorry, you lost. You lost. Sorry, it goes in the bucket. Because you couldn't just, you're the FBI, bro. You have every fucking legal tool at your disposal, and you had to use the things that you're not supposed to. Why is that? How good are you at your job, really? If you have to do the one fucking thing you're not supposed to, even though you have billions of dollars of taxpayer-funded fucking toys at your disposal, right? So even the judge, Hippler here, concedes what they did to get their tip. Maybe it violates some DOJ policy or whatever, you know? Right, Your Honor. Exactly, Judge. So if what they did to get their tip violated policy and potentially the rights of the defendant, you should have granted a full frank so that they could have put that fucking evidence out there on the court record, and then you should have chucked it in the bucket because it was obtained via, non-lawful means. Get what I'm saying here? So I don't know. Hippler just enrages me. He really does, because he talks out of both sides of his face. His orders come from both sides of his face. He's two-faced, like from Gotham, like from Batman, right? He's two-faced. He's that guy. And it just pisses me off royally, because I don't understand how it blows my mind. I'm so very sorry. I'm so very sorry. And I know a lot of people too, they get angry, like they're angry with there's some people that blame the defense, right? They blame the defense. I can't really blame the defense here on a lot of points, because they did everything that they were supposed to do, right? They filed for the motions to suppress, the motions in limine. They filed for a full frank. They did everything the way they were supposed to do. The judge in the case wouldn't allow any of it. And he openly, in my opinion, he didn't hide the fact he was colluding and conspiring with the state to ensure a proper defense was never going to fucking happen. And the evidence that pointed to anyone else involved in the crime was never going to be seen by the public at a trial. That's just my opinion of what he did here. So, I feel like a lot of people's anger should be directed at the state. It should be directed at the judge, because how in the actual fuck are people like Jeff Nye, Josh Hurwitz, right, being brought on by the Latah County Prosecutor's Office to assist in the case? Ingrid Beatty, all you motherfuckers, you're brought on to this death penalty case where the state has attached the death penalty, right? And then you're just going to lay in the cut while the state capitulates and removes the death penalty to plea out with this fucking monster, huh? Do you see why I say it's two-faced here? Because if these people were worth any of their fucking salt or any of the money that the taxpayers of Idaho paid their fucking salaries with, okay? If they truly believe they had all of the evidence to convict fucking Kohberger beyond a reasonable doubt in front of the whole fucking world and a jury, right? You would never, ever, ever give someone like him who committed this kind of a crime a fucking plea. Ever. Even if his defense team came crawling, begging, and crying, you would tell them to fuck off into the sun. He isn't getting a plea. We're going to kill this motherfucker after we convict him. Right? I'm so very sorry. That's just the reality of the situation here. The reality is that the state allowed this quadruple murderer to get off on the death penalty. It would appear the only reason the state attached it was for the purposes of leveraging a plea. They never had any intention of actually seeking the death penalty, in my opinion. They never had any intention of seeking the death penalty. They just attached it for the purposes of leveraging a plea. And I think that's why she consistently fought it all the way through to get it removed, because she knew they had no intention of ever fucking trying to actually get the death penalty. My anger is directed at the state, because I'm of the opinion that if Brian Kohberger is the person and you have all the evidence to prove that, you would never give him a plea deal, ever, if you're the state. You would tell his defense team, even when the judge says to you, it's time for you guys to start talking about last final offers. I would have said right then and there, Your Honor, our only last and final offer is that we're going to trial. I'm also a hard ass though, right? I'll play hardball like a motherfucker. If I know I've got you by the nuts and I'm going to be able to clip your nuts, I'm never going to back down. We're never going to back down, right? So even when Judge Hippler said, it's time for you all to start talking about your last final offers, it would have been right then and there, Your Honor. There is no last final offer. We're not pleading out on this, Your Honor. We have no intention of pleading this down, Your Honor. We intend to seek the death penalty, Your Honor. Right? I'm just saying. That's why I try to tell everybody, like, I know we all tend to stay in the whole, like, defense mindset. Start getting in the state's mindset. Start getting into what the state did here and why they did it. Why would you ever capitulate to a quadruple homicide person? Why would you ever capitulate to Michael Myers 2.0, right? If you're the state. Even if his defense team came crawling. I don't care if Miss Mathis and Miss Taylor both said, you know, we'll suck your dicks in perpetuity if you just take the death penalty off the table. I don't care. You tell them no. You tell them no. Okay? That's just how I feel about that. I don't care what the defense team did, how much they crawled, begged for the death penalty to be removed. You never, ever capitulate on something like this. Because if Brian Kohberger, who the state claims did this crime, doesn't deserve the fucking death penalty for this crime, who does? Who does? The death penalty should never be attached in any case in Idaho ever again. Ever. Never attach it ever again. You should never be allowed to attach the death penalty to any case in Idaho ever again after this. Ever. Because it's obvious there's no point in attaching it. They're just going to plead it out anyway and let fucking Michael Myers 2.0 and the like and all of his friends get away with it anyway. They'll never face the death penalty. They'll just maybe get life in prison, right? So that's what happens to quadruple murderers in Idaho. They just get a life sentence. They never actually have to face the death penalty. They never actually have to have their cases go to trial because the state will just attach the death penalty to plead it down. And then they never have to show their work. They never have to show the public an actual case. They never actually have to convict someone beyond a reasonable doubt. They just get to attach the death penalty to leverage a fucking plea. Case done, blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, move along, nothing to see here, right? Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what we get for unsealed docs and when. I'm hoping that we're going to get them all soon. Today, maybe, tomorrow. I'm still waiting to hear back from Matthew Gamet as well. He knows that I have every intention. I don't want to, but if I have to, I will file an ex parte emergency motion against Idaho State Police if they continue to try to hide behind a $10,000 cost estimate for something that was turned over as a piece of discovery in this case, right? So there is a piece of evidence in this case that was turned over by the Idaho State Police. Both sides have it. Both sides would have had to have it. According to Matthew Nodal, defense's expert who did the crime scene reconstruction and the 3D scans for the defense, he has the scans, and they were all stitched together, right? Thank you, Matthew Nodal. Thank you, sir, for your affidavit, because I was able to utilize that to my advantage as well to show that the Idaho State Police, who's trying to say, oh, it's $10,000 because it's these thousands of images that we have to go through and possibly redact and blah, 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 blah. Well, actually, you don't have to do any of that. You don't have to do any of that because all of the photos were already stitched together and turned over as a piece of evidence in fucking discovery. So all you have to do is take that your final work of all of the photos that were stitched together, and you can go ahead and throw some black boxes in like you do with your body cams and redact it that way. You don't have to go through all 7,000 photos. All of the photos that are pertinent to the crime scene and the crime have already been stitched together and turned over as discovery in the case. So that's all that needs to be done on that. And I made Mr. Gamet aware that I would be fine even if all you have to do is go through the final product of all the stitched together photos and just redact and black box like you would with a body cam, the ones that show the victim. I'm like, there are no victims of the deceased, sir. So there should be nothing for you to redact. All of the 3D scans that were done with Liz Q were done 3 days after the crime, and there are no bodies depicted. The victims are not depicted. So the only thing you have to do is give me the final product of the stitched together images that were turned over as discovery in the case. Right? That's all I'm asking for, and I told him I'd be fine with that. In an effort for the Idaho State Police to honor the FOIA, be transparent, and reduce the cost. I'd be fine with just the final product that was turned over in discovery. They think they're fucking slick, and they're not. They're just not. Same with Hippler. Hippler thinks he's slick by not redacting the 4 alternate perpetrators off the state's witness list because, well, that would give it away. It would give it away. There's your 4, right? There's the 4. But those tricky dicks said, man, let's unseal the whole fucking thing. Don't even redact it because then they'll have to figure it out on their own who the 4 are. If we redact the 4, it's obvious. And now he's also trying to claim, well, we can't unredact the names of the alternate suspects. It may cause undue reputational harm. Well, too fucking bad. Their names are already unredacted on the state's witness list. You opened the door, sir. You opened the door, Your Honor. Now we can ask for their names to be unsealed because they're already unsealed on the state's witness list. So anyways, I don't know. I just wanted to come live for a little bit. Hope everybody had a wonderful holiday. Hope you have a very safe and happy new year. I'm very bah humbug. It is what it is. I miss my Mercy cat. I'm worried about her, and I want everybody to go send Miss Mercy Cat lots and lots of love and lots of hugs and rainbows and whatever you can send them for her. Prayers, love, hugs. Make sure you go visit Miss Mercy Cat's channel. Leave a comment on a short. Her and her beautiful King Elroy over there. And yeah, try to go enjoy your new year. I want everyone to take care of themselves, stay safe, no drunk driving, call an Uber, please. I know a lot of the Northeast is going to be covered in ice and snow, so you know what? Don't drive if you don't have to. Stay home and just party it up at home if that's your plan, right? If your plan is to go party for New Year's Eve, do it at home and stay safe. And I appreciate all of you hanging out with me today. I think we had like well over 100 people at one point hanging out, chilling. Appreciate you guys being here. I couldn't see any of my comments, and I'm sorry if you tried to send a super sticker, super chat, and I couldn't see it. Much love to all of you, and I appreciate you being here. If you catch this on the replay, feel free to leave a comment on the replay. But yeah, Thumbs it up, thumbs it down, follow your heart, not your frown. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all the good stuff. I literally don't give a fuck, even if you don't. That's also fine too. Don't do anything you don't want to do, right? But honestly, truly, everyone take care. Have a very happy new year. I think Lana's probably going to be live soon, so go visit Lana and say hello and take care of yourselves and be safe. Mods, love you. Stay safe. Have an awesome day, everybody. Bye. Oh, by the way, thank you for the Cash Apps and the Venmos. James Moen, Chad T. There was somebody else in there, and shit, now I'm drawing a blank. Jackie B. My Mercy Cat. There's a couple of other people. If you sent Venmos and you sent Cash Apps, please don't think that I didn't get them or that I was ignoring you. I was not. I truly appreciate all of you. And I finally saw the people who sent a little something for Christmas or for a coffee. And I appreciate all of you. I truly do. Thank you so very much. You don't have to. And just know it all goes to Starbeast. It really does. It's my Starbeast fund. So everybody have an awesome day. And I truly appreciate you. Everyone who's been so supportive. I really appreciate you guys. And just go be safe and ring in the new year with safety and love and joy. Bye.